5 years of pain, and so if it is okay, I have asked my son-in-law to read my statement for me, if that would be all right.
Yes, ma'am. That is certainly all right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of the court. There are no words to fully express the horror of what this monster did to my daughter, Tara. For weeks, I have sat in this courtroom, forced to look at evil, to hear details I never wanted to know. I have endured it only for her sake. January 19, 2001 was the collision of pure good and incomprehensible evil. Over these 25 years, the truth has emerged slowly, each new piece more terrible than the last. The question that never leaves me is why? I have asked God this question thousands of times. I still have no complete answer, and the pain remains. As a mother, I cannot bear the image of Tara dying alone, frightened, calling for help that never came. Night after night, I dream of carrying her burned and broken body, walking endless roads trying desperately to find someone who could help, someone who could bring her back. I have begged God to trade my life for hers. She is gone. The emptiness she left is vast and unending. Tara was intelligent, kind, dutiful, and loving. She worked hard toward her dream of becoming a lawyer so she could help others. Yet she never lost her generosity or her caring nature. Her life was full of promise and light. The person who took her lived in complete opposition to everything she stood for. His actions were selfish, depraved, without compassion or regard for the lives he destroyed. He did not only end her life and her dreams, he tried to erase her completely by setting the fire. Our family had never known violent crime before that day. Her absence still wounds her siblings, her friends, and all who loved her. The pain is constant, even in moments that should be joyful. I will never forget sitting beside her closed casket, praying it was all a mistake, that we would open it and find it empty. Though I begged to open the casket to see my sweet girl one last time, my husband and the funeral director protected me from seeing the devastation that Edrick Faust had caused. The impossible hope that somehow she was not in that casket was the last thread I clung to before accepting she was truly gone. After 25 years of living in the shadow of this loss, praying, waiting, and enduring, the final chapter has been written today. As the district attorney reminded us, it was the jury's solemn duty to hold the pen and write the correct ending to this tragic story. They have done so, bringing accountability at last and allowing light to pierce the darkness that has shadowed our family for so long. Tara's beautiful soul is now safe with our Lord. Her short life was filled with love, and that love endures in every heart she touched. I thank God for the grace that has carried me this far. I thank him for my remaining children, Tara's siblings, and I thank him for my grandchildren. We all thank him for the legacy of light that Tara left behind. Tara was, and always will be, deeply loved. Such a beautiful life, so full of promise. Thank you for your time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz, anything from the defense with regard to this victim witness?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Yalamanchili, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state would call Adam Baker.
On January 19th, 2001, my beloved sister, Tara Baker, was stabbed, beaten, strangled, raped, and finally set on fire. That horrific act was not where the tragedy ended. That is where it began. Tara was an extraordinary human being, beautiful, compassionate, driven, and hilariously funny. She was the best of us. I have never known anyone with a purer heart. Tara and I were more than siblings. We were best friends. From the day I was born until the day Edrick Faust ripped her from us, we were inseparable. She cheered me on at every step. My decision to join the Air Force, my dreams of flying, it was her dream for me to become a pilot. I remember how she beamed with pride after I joined the Air Force. I remember coming home on leave and her giving me the biggest hug. We talked so much about my training and what things were like. I also remember the moment she saw my dog tags and truly understood what they meant. She grew quiet. She cried. It was the first time she ever considered that my life could be cut short. Neither of us ever imagined it could have been the other way around. Being far from home meant I was alone when I learned of her death. My father was desperately trying to contact a military chaplain to sit with me when the news came, but I called him first. The cries of anguish I made during that call haunted him until the day he died. I still have nightmares in which our roles are reversed, and I am the one making that call, hearing the pain, unable to hug my son or comfort him. I remember the fog of arranging a flight back to Georgia, the long journey home, watching people board planes and go about their day oblivious. The flight attendants offered pretzels or cookies. All I could think was, I want my sister back. The entire flight, I dreaded one moment above all, seeing my mother. When I finally reached my parents' house and I saw her face, the anguish there was something no one should ever have to witness on their own mother. In hysterical grief, she held me for what felt like days, weeping and wailing. That evening, through her tears, she begged me to achieve my dreams because Tara could no longer achieve hers. Our focus is only Tara could have inspired me to do. I made every rank as early as military regulations allowed. Eventually, I was accepted to officer training school. My family attended my graduation. Tara was not there. I went on to flight school and earned my wings. At graduation, my family proudly pinned those wings on my chest, but Tara was not there. I met an amazing woman whom Tara would have adored. We married. At the wedding, we took family photos of the whole Baker family. Tara was not in them. Every Christmas, every family gathering, every milestone, Tara was absent. She never got to be a sister to my wife. She never held my infant daughter, beaming with pride as an aunt. She never cradled my twins when they were born. My oldest child has had to learn of her Aunt Tara through photographs and stories. She favors her. I mourn not only Tara, but everything that was stolen from us. Tara would have turned 49 last month. I have no doubt she would have pursued her dreams, achieved her goals. She would have married and had children. My beautiful nieces and nephews that I never got to meet. My mother's precious grandbabies, who now would be old enough to chase their own dreams and start their own families. An entire branch of our family tree was severed irreparably on that one day to satisfy one man's depravity. The last 25 years should have been full of life, laughter, and generations. But the pain doesn't end here today. Despite this verdict, the pain will continue. This summer, I will retire from the career that Tara inspired me to pursue. My family will fly out. We will celebrate. There will be pictures. Tara won't be in them. She won't be there. Tara's children won't be there. Tara's grandchildren won't be there. In fact, our dad, who died at the age of 59, due to the stress and grief of losing a child, will not be there. And he is but one of a list of family members who I am certain would still be alive today had it not been for the stress, grief, depression, and utter devastation caused 25 years ago. For many years, I wrestled with God over what happened. That struggle eventually and ultimately led me to a place of forgiveness. Long before I ever heard the name Edrick Faust, I chose to forgive him. Today, sitting in this courtroom face to face, I can honestly say, I have forgiven you. I harbor no hate in my heart. I've given that all to God. You will stand before him one day. I pray that before then, you will confess, you will repent, and you will seek for the forgiveness of Christ. He will grant it. Until then, I need nothing from you except this one thing, that you never hurt anyone else again. Your Honor, I leave that responsibility to the judicial system. Please ensure that Mr. Faust never has the opportunity to harm another person. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz, anything from the defense?
In regards to this witness, no, ma'am.
All right. You may call your next witness, Mr. Yalamanchili.
Meredith Schroeder, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
During these last few weeks, we, Tara's family and friends, and all who loved her, were forced to relive this nightmare, to face the darkest time of our lives once more, to face things that we have avoided for 25 years. We sat and watched in horror the sight of her lifeless body, discarded like trash amongst the debris. We sat here in this courthouse and watched Tara be victimized once more, watched social media legal pundits co-opt our family photos as their own and opine on who they thought Tara was. I've watched as people came to spectate, like a morbid kid poking at her and us like dead animals on the side of the road. For all those interested parties, I will tell you who Tara was. She was our North Star, our champion. She was kind. She was determined. She wasn't perfect, but she was close to it. She spent her short life lifting people up and wanted to dedicate her life to making people happy. Happy law was her dream, and she had carved out her path to achieve it, and no one hated her. On January 19, 2001, Tara woke and began her day like any other. While that day will remain the darkest of our lives, it was nothing compared to what Tara endured. I cannot imagine the fear and anger she felt, how she fought, telling herself this was not happening. While Tara was our everything, it wasn't enough for Faust. For the last 25 years, he has wreaked havoc on this community. Just 2 weeks after he ended Tara's life, he put a knife into a man's neck. He shattered another man's jaw over a parking space outside the 40 Watt. He savagely beat his wife on a cruise and then later pistol whipped her with her own gun. While we have sat here trying to maintain our composure, I've watched the defendant sleep through proceedings. I'm terribly sorry to have inconvenienced him, but you see, while he got to walk free for the last 25 years, he dealt Tara and all of us a life sentence. He stole from her, he stole from me, he stole from my children, and he stole from all of us. None of us are the same people who woke up on January 19th, 2001. Every day for the last 25 years, I have literally thought about my sister. I've wondered if her wild and tacky sister would have made her proud. I've mourned the friendship that we were building outside of sister. I've mourned the tone-deaf car karaoke sessions and the Friday night rom-coms. I've mourned the life lessons that she tried to teach me, but my dumb teenage brain couldn't understand. The guilt that I feel that I've lived an entire life that was denied her cannot be measured. I have prayed that I've been strong enough for her, that I've fought enough for her. I've prayed these last few weeks that I've done right by her. Today I stand here, channeling her strength to face the man convicted by a jury of his peers to this nightmare, to let him know that after today, I will endeavor to forget his face and his name, to never allow him to cross my thoughts again. After today, I will live my life remembering how Tara lived. My final request is that this honorable court ensure that he is put somewhere where he finally ends his reign of mayhem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from the defense, Mr. Cruz?
Only to make two corrections, Your Honor. In regards to pistol whipping his wife, that is nothing that occurred or was evidence in this case.
I'll let you say that when it's your turn, but in terms of any questions you have for the
No,
witness.
absolutely
All right.
not.
Thank you, sir. You may call your next witness.
Kevin Baker.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Of course, indulgence as I get my paperwork here. It's maybe one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. Your Honor, my name is Kevin Baker. I'm Tara's youngest brother, who she affectionately called her baby darling. There's a 12-year age gap between the two of us, so I wouldn't see her as much as a big sister as I would see her as a motherly figure. Over the past several days, I have sat in this room and listened to people argue over semantics while thinking that my Tara, beloved sister, cuddle buddy and protector, is gone. We're arguing over a Super Bowl and a World Series. Well, I can't tell you who won that game, but I can tell you every detail that happened that day. My earliest memories of Tara and I were singing Beatles songs and Elvis songs and having a dance party in the living room. We watched old movies like Wizard of Oz and the Braves game on TV as we would cheer on her boys to victory. I even told her as a young boy I was going to play baseball and I was going to be just like Chipper Jones, who she adored so much. She would sit there as I would tell her that, and she would smile and say, "You could do whatever you wanted to do as long as you put enough effort into it." To help me sleep, she would tell me Bible stories and hold me close when I was scared of the dark or when things would go bump in the night. Everywhere Tara lived, she invited me to stay at her house. From her dorm at Georgia College to the 80 Pie house, I was always welcome, where most college girls would think having a 9 or 10-year-old little brother following them around a college campus would be annoying and maybe even a bit embarrassing. But she saw it as an opportunity to connect and show me how doing well in school can benefit you. I remember the last time I saw her. It was towards the end of Christmas holiday. Adam was home, and she thought how great it would be to have a siblings' day out. She took us out, myself, Adam, and Meredith, to Chick-fil-A for lunch. We laughed, we carried on, and had a great time as a family. It was probably my last true happy memory as a child. She said goodbye to me in the driveway. She bent down on one knee and gave me the warmest hug and a white turtleneck sweater and a brown leather jacket and a kiss on the cheek. She told me to do my best in school as a new school year would be starting. In a few weeks, she would be back to visit with just me. She planned to come home and visit with me and go to my baseball game. I started that next school year with just the focus on school and sports. Then came Friday, January 19th, 2001. I was taken out of school, oblivious to what was happening at the time. My parents were in a panic and dropped me off at my grandparents', who would soon drive me up to Athens. But before we made our way to Athens, I asked my grandparents if it would be okay to get something to give to Tara as a gift. My grandparents, already knowing what was happening in the situation, couldn't bear to be the ones to give me the news. So they took me to a Hobby Lobby. I got a dolphin figurine and I made it for her, not knowing that she would never receive it. I arrived at the Holiday Inn right down the road from here. As a child of only 11, I was given the news by my late father that there was a fire at Tara's house. My immediate response was, "Is she in the hospital? Tell me she's okay." My dad stood there, choking back tears, saying, "No, buddy, she didn't make it. She's gone." At that moment, my childhood innocence was destroyed. It would be shadowed by grief and running around this college campus with flyers asking who killed my sister, asking questions, not knowing anything other than she was gone. Learning words that no elementary school kid should ever have to learn or know happened to his big sister. Words such as rape, stabbing, arson, and murder. Kids at school would say, "We're sorry for your loss." I was only thinking to myself, I didn't lose her. She was stolen from me. Where most kids would come home to a warm house full of happiness, I came home to a house, despite my parents' best efforts to create the best environment possible. It felt more like a mausoleum than a warm home. Unlike my siblings, I went through the majority of my life, from childhood, teenage, and adult phases, without Tara. Unable to ask her, "Am I doing okay? Is this what I should be doing in school or in life? Would you be proud of the man your baby brother has become. I strived to be just like her throughout my childhood. When I received awards, graduated high school, and graduated college, Tara was not there. When my father died, which this murder took years off of his life due to stress, instead of Tara holding me while giving me the news of my father's passing, I fell to my knees in a hospital parking lot at midnight alone to collect myself and be strong for my mother, who was already in the ER room waiting for me to arrive. I found love and married, and instead of a family being in the front row, I had 2 empty chairs with 2 white roses for both my father and Tara, who would have been there if the situations had been different. As this trial goes on, I have read and seen the absolute best and the absolute worst of people in both this courtroom and outside who seek to turn a sensitive matter into a circus of calamity and pandemonium for their own entertainment, for likes on their social media pages, all the while seeing how this trial has opened up old wounds and exposed horrible memories. I have heard how this man is sitting here fighting for his life. Well, it makes me think about something about that morning. Did Tara have a chance to fight for her life? Who was there at the moment when she needed someone the most? No one, because she was scared and she died alone. Your Honor, I've listened to details for the first time that I've never been told about this case, not because the case was not thoroughly investigated, but because of the horrific and gruesome facts that my family tried to shield from me due to the age at the time. Your Honor, when that verdict was read, the person that's sitting here in that pew that day is not the 36-year-old man that stands before you right now. It was that 11-year-old boy who brought back all that pain and loneliness of being in that hotel room knowing that his sister had just been killed. As a father of a young girl, I dread for the day that I will have to give the tale to my daughter of her Aunt Tara, not for being the loving aunt who would have loved her so much or strived for greatness, but as a cautionary story of safety, because someone thought that they could play God and decide who should live and who doesn't. I've taken my grief and I've used it as a career to help others during their time of loss and guide them through their grieving process. It gives me peace to know that none of these families that I will undoubtedly have to help in the future will not be caused by this man's reign of terror in this community. I pray that there will not be another family in this community that will have to deal with the same pain and sorrow and cruelty that we have had to deal with over these past 25 years. This is not the final chapter of Tara's story, because once this case is concluded and her story will live on in everyone who ever knew her and everyone who ever loved her, despite this man's best efforts to destroy her legacy and destroy her body, she will endure in our hearts forever. For those who are in this courtroom or maybe watching at home, I ask you this: will you remember her? Because she would remember you. Thank you, Your Honor, for your time.
Thank you.